Greetings folks, Crosstrain here from World of Tanks, and today I am bringing you an update to my mods that I installed. I've been asked by a few people on my YouTube channel to let them know what mods I'm running now. So I'm going to do a full update, show you where I get them from, how to install them, and all that kind of stuff, plus all the ones that I'm using. They really are even remotely significant. So I'm going to start in the garage, although nobody asked me about my garage mods, but I want to show you some of the options and the ones that I've chosen here in my garage. I do use the OMC mod pack installer, and we'll get to that. I'll put all the links to everything I talked to that need a link in the description of the video here. So go ahead and do that. But let's start here. We'll start just with the look of my garage. It is a very minimalistic garage. I love the black with the paving stones here. There's several different options, even in this minimalistic mod here. Within the OMC mod pack, but I like the paving stones and just the simple black. You see, I also have a three-row carousel. I have 115 or so tanks in my garage. And so there's a lot of tanks to sift through, and I'm looking to join a detachment or a stronghold or clan wars or whatever. And this enables me to sort the tanks by nation, by the type, by the tier, and then any of these non-elites, premiums, normals, multi, blah, 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 meaning the ones you haven't doubled already for the day, or whatever. So you can do a lot of different sorts here. Of course, then you've got your preferred tanks down here. If you check that, I have none at tier 9, which I've got this thing set up for right now. At any rate, so this is nice. This feature in particular is something that's not in the standard version, stock version of the game. So I really do like it. This way I can display a lot of tanks in here. You'll notice also within my tanks icon in the carousel, there's a lot of information here. So these are vehicle tiers. This is your mastery badge you got on it, your win percentage in this tank. This 1.01 on my T54, for example. This is a new mod that I installed, and I believe what this tells me is that I do 101 on average, do 101% of the expected damage output for this tank, which isn't great certainly, but anything at 100% or more, I guess I'll take. So that's okay for me. The other thing I have on here is this is your marks of excellence, so I have 0 on here. I do have one, as you see, on my Jagdtiger. You'll see it on the barrel there, and then I have one on my 5120 as well. So again, it does display, that's what this little number is here, the numbers of marks of excellence that you have on your tank. So this is nice, got a lot of information on here that that I find to be very helpful. So I really do like that. One of the cool things I just added to this is up in the crew here, you'll see when you mouse over your crew, you've got a couple of numbers up here. Now let me tell you what this means. This has to do with your crew's training. So what this tells me for my commander here, of my Centurion MK71, is it's going to take me one more battle, and I need only 255 crew XP to bring him from 10% for his third skill to 11%. So one battle, 255 XP is all I need. The next number tells me that I have rounded up or down about 1,000 battles and 835,000 XP, crew XP, to earn on this guy before I go from 10% to full 100% on my third skill for this guy. So that's a lot of battles, 1,000 battles. I can get a little more detailed information if I right-click, go into the personnel file. You'll see here, again, that you see my average experience for battle is about 810. Total crew experience that I've earned, 731,000. You can see here that to get to 100%, I need 834,903 more crew experience. That's about 1,030 battles based on my average crew XP, XP per battle. So about 1,030 battles before I get that third skill up to 100. This over here tells you 255 experience to get to 11%, and that's one battle. So That's kind of a cool feature if you wonder where your guys are in terms of getting their next percentage, or maybe some of the rest of you also look out to that like, oh boy, he's hardly even moving. But I find that to be very cool. The other nice thing about this is a tank I happen to be grinding right now, so this little bit of information over here tells me I have 91,475,000 credits to go before I elite this tank. That also happens to be how many XP I need before I can research my FV4202. It breaks it down and says, well, that's about 112 battles. Another 112 average battles for me in this tank, and I will have my FE4202 researched and ready to go. Which, that's nice to know. 112 doesn't seem quite as bad as 1,000. So that's a cool little function that I just added not too long ago. One of the other things I really do like about this down here is this actually doesn't just give you the rate of fire of the gun. This happens to be tell you the actual reload time. So it's 10.13 seconds on this gun reload. That is with 100% crew. It is with Brothers in Arms. I do have a gun rammer on it. The only thing I do not have that would help that even more is the vents. And oftentimes I will go with a GLD as opposed to vents. Although this tank probably could use the vents more than the GLD, because it doesn't move around too much, and it's got a relatively fast aim time. So I probably should have vents on here instead of the GLD. And I may change that next sale. Then I've also got the vert stabilized, so when I'm shooting on the move, it's a little bit more accurate. So there are a variety of other little things that are in here that the mods have changed, but those are the biggies. You can see if I look at my service record, I go to my vehicles, you can see that my tanks display a little bit differently. I can sort these by victories, I can sort them by percentage, win percentages, average XP per battle, whatever I want to do. Typically, by default, it's sorted by the number of battles, so you can see my T-34 is my most oft-used tank, followed by the T-29 and the M6. So that's one of the things in here. Also, the tech tree is a little bit different. I do use run a vertical tech tree, and I really do like that. But again, you can see that I own every American tank in the game except for the Mutant 6, which came with a large pre-sale package. So, again, this is the in-garage mods that I have that, again, I just like these are the things that make it easier in the garage, as well as I like the visual display of it. So, I'm going to jump into a game real quick here. We'll just look at a replay to see what these things, the other mods that affect the in-game behavior look like in-game. So I'll join you back here in just a second. Okay, and I'm back, and this is a replay from the other day. It's a Strongholds battle that we had with Jimbo, or in Jimbo, against one of the Puma subclans. So the battle itself isn't the important thing. What I want to do is show you how these mods work in game and which mods I'm running that are really important to me, either from an aesthetic standpoint or functional standpoint. So the first one is this is my crosshair. I'm using Taipan. I'll show you these in the OMC installer, but I am using the Taipan's crosshair both for this and for artillery, which you won't see in this replay certainly, but it shows you the gun reload time. You see that on the left. You see it's counting down right now. 5.57 is the reload time for this Type 62A, or T62A, not Type 62A, but for the T62A, which is Tier 10 Russian medium, one of them, alongside the Type 140 or Object 140. Jeez, I don't know why I got Type on the brain, but regardless of that. 5.5 second reload. You see on the right side, that's the number of shells that there are left, as well as your health is both a numerical figure, 100%, as well as that green bar will go down as you lose health. So that's the site mod, which I really do like. You can see the team list up on top has your on the left and the right. You can see each tanker in the battle in their XVM correlated color. So that's helpful when you're trying to figure out what's what, and maybe who you can rely on, and use your own judgment. I know I'll probably get criticized by some for saying that, but regardless of that, it does give you an idea of what you're looking at and all that stuff. So this is that's kind of nice. You also see it up at the top, and this is important to watch. You can see that that bar on the top right has total hit points. We're at 30,000. We're at just under 9,000 right now. And with each hit they see, you can see that being counting down. That's a team's total hit points that shows up in there. You can see that they got 4 tanks left. They've got 2 heavies, a tank destroyer, and arty. You can see that just underneath their hit point counter. You can see the number of enemies or friendlies that are capturing the base just underneath that, and the amount of time it's going to take to finish capturing. You can see this battle was pretty much over, well, pretty quickly. Let's just put it that way. In fact, they're going to kill their arty here just in a second, and this is going to be over. And I still have a couple things I want to talk to you about, so let's just pause this for a second. So again, you see the XVM stuff over in the team list. You see the hit point counters at the top. You see the counter for, and this works whether it's enemy or friendly countdown. The mini-map on the right, most of the stuff that's on the mini-map you can now get in the standard version. WG finally integrated it into the game. This information tells you what tanks are where. I have it set up so it shows me where friendly and enemy tanks were killed. This was a 15-0 route, so we didn't have any markings left on the field, but I do have it set up so I can see where the enemy tanks were killed. It leaves a shadow, as you can see. And there, when you hit the tab key, then what this does is it gives you, again, a little bit more information. For each player from left to right, I'm going to start at the top here with Sharpshooter. You see that he played, his average tier played is tier 7. He's got 28k battles. His win 8 is a 1427, 52% overall win rate. He's got about 400 games in his E100, 51% win rate in it, and then 0.9, so he does 0.9% of his hit points in average damage in this tank. So and again, you can see that for every player, both our side and their side. If you go down to mine, you see it's got no number because I only have, I don't know, 10 or 12 battles in my T62A. It's a relatively new tank for me. So you can see mine says 0-100. 52% is really my win rate overall. It has not yet, XVM hasn't picked up enough information to be able to supply it, quite frankly. So again, that's some very useful information you can see on each player. Again, you can the enemy team, of course, is all wiped out, so you can't see it on them. So again, this is functionally speaking down in the lower left-hand corner. I've got my damage. That's my damage that I've done. Just to the right of that, I didn't take a single shot, nor did I take any damage, obviously. Just to the right of that would be the damage received indicator. So I have them down in the bottom left, both of them side by side. You've seen that in some of my other replays as well, likely, if you've watched any of my videos. So, again, I like them side by side. I get damage done on the left right next to my damage panel, and damage received right next to that. So, again, this is the in-game functionality. A lot of it is aesthetic, really, and some of it is very functional. So, we're going to jump from here. I'm going to jump right into the OMC site. And then I'm going to take you through the installer and show you just how simple it is to install these mods. So I will be back with you in just a second. So here we are at the Odom Mortis site, which is where I install my mods from. I was turned on to this coming up to a year ago about mod installs. I've done a video on my mods before, but if you haven't used an installer, these things are, there's quite a few of them that are out there right now. A lot of people in my clan, as well as my last couple clans, use Aslan's installer as well, which installs his entire mod pack that you can see on his stream. Aslan, of course, is a very good player, I believe, on the European server. But at any rate, I chose the OMC Oda Mortis just because it gives me a lot of flexibility, and I can pick and choose, cherry pick different pieces and different parts of people's mods. So again, this is the page. I will put this link in my in the description of the video. Come in here, you just click the download, and then it will download your installer. You click that to execute it, and you will get this. And once you start it up, you get the Welcome to OMC Mod Pack Setup Wizard. So I'm going to just walk right through this with you, show you. I'm going to click through these. It's going to read my config files right now, and it will go through and look at what your config looks like right now, and then bring up the installer itself. So I'm going to kind of walk you through a little bit of that. So here's the installer, and just for reference, here's the number and the type. See all of these mods that you can install, have this installer install for you. So there is a ton of options in here. I'll walk through real quick and show you just some of the highlights again. You can choose whether you want a clean installation. So when I do when a new patch comes out, I always do a clean installation. If I'm just updating or editing or adding a new mod, then I'll do don't clean it up, just install the new stuff over there. I am actually going to unclick this button. This is a little button in your garage. I don't know if you saw it up in the upper left corner. A button that takes you to the OMC site. I don't need that necessarily, so I'm going to undo that. For those of you that are interested, again, a couple of you asked for my setup specifically. You can see what I have enabled here. I do have enable statistics. I do have give me the full server and a server. Just pick the appropriate server here for your clan icons for your server. I use Aslan's XVM config. I do like it without HP displayed on the minimap. So I like the way he's got his set up. It's got auto log on, it's got auto server select based on your last server you're on, all kinds of stuff like that. So when you fire your game up, it skips the cinematics and all that kind of stuff and goes right into the server you last were in. That allows me to skip over all of this stuff right down to here, where because all of that other stuff was, you can, if you want, pick and choose your XVM setup right in all of those choices. So I can jump down here. I jump on my tank carousel. I want 3 rows. You can have 1, 2, 3, or 4 rows. You can see I have the battle tier, marks on gun, tank mastery badge, win rate, and effective win rate. This is that 1.01 figure I was showing you, my T54. It's your average damage divided by the expected damage, so I'm just at 101% there. You can choose which page you want to show up as by default. Personal score is typically what shows up by default, but if you want the team score, you can have that to be the first one to pop up. Again, this is my 6th Sense mod. You saw it go off in my video. That's just the sound mod for it, and then I have a yellow warning sign that pops up. So, but there's all of these choices that you have when you go in there. Contour tank icons, again, you can choose your icons as you like. I use the PNG style there. Here's your crosshairs. You see that I have Taipan set up for my regular crosshairs, and I use Taipan's, also his artillery sights. This is again, this is something I just installed, so I didn't really say much about it in the video, but this basically helps you to determine if you can penetrate a tank based on the angle of the tank, which is kind of cool. I'm trying it out, haven't really used it before. Here's the zoom mod, so you can zoom way in, zoom way out. You can turn it off so that you cannot mouse wield to it. to your zoom. Some people like that. I personally like to be able to mouse wheel in and out of my zoom and my sniper mode. The damage panel that I have, this is an important one. A lot of people. So I use the XFT damage model with the integrated hit log. You can choose the hit log not integrated, which will place your hit log at the top and then your damage received down at the bottom. I think that's how it goes. I leave a bunch of this stuff. I do have a spot messenger on, and I use it just in company battles, strongholds, and clan wars, so I don't do it for like random public play. Nobody cares. It's a very rare thing to get somebody to actually help you in pubs, so there's no sense. But I do want my clanmates to know when we're in a battle where I've been spotted, so they know that there's an enemy nearby. Again, there's some other stuff in here. One of the things that is really cool about this is, for example, I have this multi-hit log, and so you can look and see, this is the minimal, this is the one that tells you your expected. If you right click on this, it will show you what that looks like. So you can see here that by right clicking on the minimal config by herd a step, I can see what does this mod look like in game. I could also, if I want to say, well, let's see what the little more, this is the non-minimal, and there's a lot more. So if you click on those images, you can see what it does. You can see this does efficiencies as well and Win 8 and blah, blah, blah. So by right-clicking on any of these mods, you can see what they look like. So if you're not sure what some of these things do, that's the beautiful thing about it. You can just click on it, right-click on and see. Again, some of these are pretty functional. You ever have those things where a tank disappears in front of you and all of a sudden your crosshair goes wonky? This is supposed to help do that. I've noticed a little bit of a difference, but not really all that terribly much. I did turn on a battle messenger filter and anti-spam, so when somebody annoyingly hits the whatever, when they click on the map 400 times in a row, it'll basically shut them out. It also shuts off dead talk, so when dead people are talking, or again, there's a couple of different settings in there, so that's kind of cool. Here's your hangar. My hangar setup again is down here. I have the hangar by minimal, or hangar minimal by hell, and I use paving stones, as you can see. Again, so there's just a ton of different things. Here's the crew extended, the vehicle extended information on XP information that you have, the tech trees, map textures. I have high def textures on. Again, you can see my vehicle list. This is when you look at your vehicles that you've run in. This is that. The icons you want in your garage and all that kind of stuff, all the way down. And down by the bottom are your session stats. I use Yasin Krassen's, sorry if I mispronounce it, but I use his minimalist kinds of session stats, and then I do run some sound mods. I have Gnome Father's engine sounds. I have the WWIIHWA, whatever that is, the gun sounds. I really like his gun sounds. And the Gnome Father's hit sounds. Those are kind of cool. You hear the pings when somebody ricochets off you and that kind of stuff. So, if I was going to install again, I would hit next, and away we would go. It would do an install. It takes 5 or 6 minutes if you're doing a fresh install, 5, 6, 7 minutes maybe to install everything. But when it's done, you'll be good to go. There's no worry about overwriting other files and crap that won't work. I've never had a problem with except for when right after a patch comes out and sometimes a mod's not available or it's not been tested thoroughly enough. One good thing about being on an NA server is we usually go live with a new patch anywhere from 3 to 7 days after EU does. So a lot of the mods are already perfected at that point, and these come out pretty quick after after a patch is released. So anyways, it's very, very simple. Give it a go if you haven't done it yet. I will put the links to all of this stuff in there, and I hope you found this helpful. And if you did, I'd love to have you give me a like. You probably already subscribed if you found this thing. I don't think I'm somebody that folks really look for in YouTube, but I try to provide some good content once in a while. So again, hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, leave in the comments. I will respond to every comment in my channel. So until next time, this is Crosstrain from World of Tanks in the mod section. And I hope you have an awesome day, and I will see you on the battlefield. Peace.